Oh my gosh, beautiful friend. Are you a people pleaser like me? What is going on? What's happening with people pleasing in higher dimensions? So this is what's going on, guys. There is some photon belt that's in a certain position that's beaming high frequency to our planet. And you may feel a bit triggered. You may feel a bit off. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this topic of people pleasing and what's happening right now to really get to the truth and to uncap consciousness so we can raise higher. My name's Rebecca Abraxas. Thanks for tuning in. And we're here together remembering our greatness and building the 5D collective. So let's dive in. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell. We go live every Friday as a tribe, and I offer a live light language activation and Q&A. All right, people pleasing. People pleasing is coming from two things kind of together: fear and control. So we're in fear of something, we try to control it, right? So people pleasing comes from fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of chaos, right? Fear of being hurt, right? Physically. So all of a sudden, I'm starting to have this awareness of how much I people please ever since I was a little girl. I remember my mom was pretty stressed out as a mom, and she had some times that she got pretty aggressive with us. And I remember sometimes, like, kind of as a kid starting a fight, and I remember knowing how to pull out and start people pleasing to evade the situation and the chaos. And I became really good at that. And so there started this habit of people pleasing in fear of aggression, of being chased, of being hit. And then all of a sudden noticing that I had control here. I could control the situation, I could control people. And so I was safe. So people pleasing is a way to stay safe and to work through fear and to control your life. That said, it caps your consciousness and it doesn't allow you to really create more in your life. So I'm taking a look at this because I can't not take a look at it. With this high energy that's coming to the planet right now, all of a sudden, like, I am triggered out of nowhere and reacting, and I'm like, whoa, what is happening? It doesn't hurt that I have the perfect storm. I have an 18-year-old son who just really is the guru for my highest consciousness, let's just say. And I am getting triggered out the wazoo. And I've been someone that really works on my triggers. I meditate every day. I do a sound healing practice every day. I exercise every day. I do clearing every day. So I'm like kind of shocked at how triggered and reactive I'm getting. Yet I'm taking it to my meditation pillow and I'm asking, what is up? And I'm getting a lot of clarity. I'm getting a lot of clarity. And the clarity of that actually I am people pleasing in this family, in my new family here, not my childhood family, but my family with my own kids, watching how I've been people pleasing, especially with my oldest son, and watching how that is not serving him anymore. It's not serving our relationship anymore. And it's not serving my consciousness anymore. So I'm working on just being an allowance of myself where I am right now. I am edgy, I am fiery, and I am reactive right now. And I'm trying to hold myself in this and not do more harm than good, but also like really feel things, really feel the fear, feel like what I'm trying to control that I don't want to control anymore, and feel like instead of controlling it through people pleasing, I want to be honest with myself. And I want to be honest with the person I'm in relationship with. And I want to bring consciousness to this relationship and everything involved here. Instead of placating it with people pleasing, I'd like to really get honest and true about it. And the truth is coming through. And the truth is setting me free, but it's not looking super pretty. It's not looking like love, light, and unicorns. It's looking pretty like boom. It's looking like Kali energy, if you know what that is. Kali is a Hindu goddess that you use that energy when you're really like wanting to cut through something fast and clear and bring it to like the end of it, right? And that's really what's happening here. This Kali energy is coming through. I'm really seeing and witnessing, and it's very uncomfortable. I'm witnessing myself now, and I'm witnessing myself through the years, and really becoming aware of this people pleasing habit I have to control the situation, to appease my fear. Let me know in the comments. Are you going through this too? And, as we step onto a 5D timeline, what does that mean? It just means that you're choosing a higher consciousness. You're going for a higher consciousness, and you want to stay and sustain that higher consciousness. Right now, the world has a very large 3D consciousness, 3D, third dimension. It means it's a third dimensional consciousness, and it's very large. But there is a growing 5D consciousness, which is lighter and higher in vibration, which is love and unity and light and truth and possibility and just instant manifestation. And this is growing, guys. This is growing. And so to grow that and to be on the timeline that's growing that, we have to really take a look at where we really are doing things to cap consciousness. We got to feel things, got to process them, and we got to get to the bottom of things. We got to see the truth of our behaviors, of our habits, of our subconscious beliefs. And so this is what I'm in the middle of doing right now, is uncapping my consciousness and seeing this people-pleasing habit of mine. And so when we are trying to control the chaos, right, we are trying to manipulate someone, right? And they may or may not be aware of it. Most of the time they're not aware of it. People like being treated well. People like being put on a pedestal. People like being supported, right? And so a lot of times they're not going to be aware that you're people pleasing. They're just going to like, oh, this person's just so nice. When you get to the bottom of it, you're people pleasing a person who may not be a match for your consciousness anymore. And that's sometimes hard. That's hard because it may be time to let go of a relationship, let go of a lifestyle, let go of something. So, this manipulation, right? Manipulating others to be what you want them to be or to get them to, do something a certain way. There's some brilliance in that. But what is true? If your consciousness could choose what would be true, maybe you'd want them to be a whole different person. Well, that's not going to happen. They have their own journey. You may have to get really clear and say, this isn't for me anymore. Let's part ways. Now, what do you do when it's your kids? You back out of their lives. So, and that's what I'm starting to do right now. My 18-year-old has made it very clear he wants me to back off, and I'm like, yeah, I've got to back off. I really have to let him have his own journey and trust his own journey and trust that if he falls, he'll get back up. And where he is in his life, I feel like he's going to have a lot of falls, and it's going to be really hard for me to watch. I'm in fear of his suffering and his falls and his mistakes. I fear that. That's why I'm always trying to people please and help and support. Because what if I have to feel something? What if I have to see something really hard? Will I be able to handle it? So my plan is to grow my strength in my higher self and my consciousness so that I can handle anything, that I can be with anything. So if my sons go out there, I can trust their journeys. I can trust their mistakes. I can trust their falls. I can trust their suffering. Because if I'm willing to live truly in the 5D collective, on a 5D timeline with an expanded perception and expanded paradigm, if I really hold that perspective, any falls and any suffering that they go through, I know is just growing their awareness and expanding their consciousness. And even if they go out and they die young, like I can hold the broader perspective of, wow, they just came in like a wrecking ball and boom, got what they needed and out they went. Amazing beings. What if I held that perspective? There's no more suffering with that perspective. Watching their suffering, I won't have to suffer. Then I won't have to people please. I won't have to be fearful, and I won't have to control and manipulate their lives so that I don't feel too much. I know. That's a lot. That's a lot, but it's possible. And not only is it possible, it's required if we want to go higher. And I hope you do want to go higher, friends, because as we go higher, we grow this 5D collective together. So how do we stay on this particular timeline that has to do with growing the 5D consciousness? Because a lot of times we can keep popping off, popping off. We've got to stay on it consistently. And just because you are triggered and just because you are having a hard day or you're reactive doesn't mean that you're not staying on this timeline. I had a hard time with that last night. And then as I was meditating, I was willing to take my awareness from the triggers and the activity and bring it to my meditation and ask for more awareness. And so that's how we stay on the 5D timeline. Whatever's happening in your world, be willing to be a witness of it and be willing to get deeper awareness and consciousness of it. So if we were just being reactive and not asking questions and just being unconscious about it, then we'd be popping off that timeline, okay? But if you are doing the work, if you're asking the questions, you're willing to live from awareness, you are on that higher timeline. You are living from a different, broader paradigm, and you're growing the 5D consciousness. So beautiful, people. People pleasing. Let me know in the comments who wants to shift out of this. Who wants to shift out of this habit? Really face our fears and get out of control. To have the higher frequency and higher level of living and consciousness that we're here craving and seeking. And by doing that, we are building the 5D collective, which is basically just a high consciousness on the planet. I've heard from different sources that the Earth right now is in a high 4D or that the Earth is in a 5D. Whichever it is, think about this. Whichever it is, either Earth is 4D or 5D, growing this 5D collective is going to help her out, because the bigger the 3D collective is, the harder it is for the Earth to sustain her ascension. So if we start really growing this 5D collective, the Earth not only gets to sustain her 5D, she gets to start working higher. Like one of her trajectories is to become a 7D planet eventually. So let's help our Mama Earth out. And perhaps you have a knowing that you came here to be a way shower, a volunteer, a light worker for the planet to grow this consciousness. And if you're on this video, I think you are. All right, so people pleasers, unite. Let's disengage and let's face the fear, unlock the truth, and throw caution and control to the wind. We've got this. High five, everybody. High five. We've got this. We've got this. And if your triggers are up your meditation. Do some oming 10 minutes a day before you start your day, before you go to bed. Just up your tools. The triggers will eventually ease up. But if you are triggered, try to pause before you react. And if you react, forgive yourself and bring it to your meditation pillow to get more awareness around it. Okay? All right, I hope to see you in one of my lives. And if you could use some extra support, I have a new program called Vocal Toning for manifesting. And this is all about raising your vibration, managing your vibrational gap, feeling that inner peace, dealing with triggers, everything we're talking about in this video. The tools in my online course will help that. So just go to the descriptions and you'll see new online course, vocal toning, and the link will take you there. Okay, beautiful beings, we got this. Namaste.